Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our last technical session, and this is a session on the seed technology. The APSA Standing Committee on Seed Technology has been very active, and you also saw yesterday in the techno-commercial demonstrations and presentations the kind of work our seed tech group does, especially on the webinars and holding this this technical session here. So we have a very, I would say, interesting combination mix of our presentations today. We have Dr. Rob Prong from Incotech, who will be talking about how seed tech, can and sustainability can go together. And then we have a very interesting panel discussion. So in that we will talk about we try to have not seed tech not just as the related to seed as such, how it can contribute to the entire value chain. So there will be very good presentations. And then finally, we have a presentation from the university about the careers in seed technology. So I think that's the topic that we have been debating a lot. And some of you might have seen the presentation earlier on about the APSA's effort on having a collaborations with the universities here in the region. So I think that presentation could also go a long way in attracting more talents toward university. So without further ado, I would like to invite our chair of Seed Technology Group, Dr. Sandeep Jadli. Dr. Sandeep, please. And I also have the pleasure to invite our co-chair, Mr. Farhan Tahir, who will also moderate the panel discussion. Farhan, please. Thank you so much. All yours, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sivendra. So good morning, everybody. I hope you have a great energy today. And I believe you might have a fantastic stay in 100% New Zealand. So that's very important to say because the weather is nice, the food is nice, and the people are nice around us. Thank you for that one. So I would like to thank the APSA Secretariat for giving a platform to the Standing Committee of the Seed Technology to bring all these things to you. Like Dr. Sivendra told, we have a fantastic package of the blend today, talking about the needs of the seed industry, leveraging the seed industry, and really decode a little bit of the seed technology. What is seed technology actually? It's a very broad term. Sometimes it's confused. So we'll try to bring all the clarity today. So that is very important. And I see it's a kind of very interesting and value added for all the seed industry colleagues and also the seed technology providers. So for both, it's very important. So our topic today is the trends and the perspectives in the seed technology. And our focus, so I think we have to very clear our focus will be on the sustainability around that. And the very important thing is the leveraging the seed technology in the seed industry and how we can enhance the help of the seed technology providers, Incotech, Cytozyme, all are sitting around us. So that will be our combination. And I personally feel still, in the Asia Pacific, the seed technology role is little bit undervalued. We talk a lot, but still it is undervalued as compared to the European and American market. So today our panelists are going to make a justification to understand this little bit better for you and also decode the potential of the seed technology. So I would like to again focus on that particular part. And first, we shall also take a moment to appreciate, the fundamental importance of the seed, which is a kind of the unsung hero of the agriculture. Yeah, so that we undervalued. We put a lot of value on the genetics, but this is capsulated and in the seeds, okay, and that is all responsible for your bountiful yield and all the potentials, and finally the sustainable, the producibility and the food production. So all things are related to the seeds. So we can say that today the seeds are more than just genetic material. Okay, so that's very important for us to understand. They embody the sophisticated blend of science, innovation, the technology, and all the carrier material around them. Yesterday, I think Mr. Goyal put a lot of fact on the biotic and abiotic stress. And these are increasing. You are selling the seeds since many years, but you might have observed in the few last, maybe 1 decade or later, that seeds are getting challenged. A lot of issues, the quality problem in the field, the performance is not good. And there are multiple factors around that because we only look the genetics. If the genetics is good, we forget. We underestimate the power of the seed quality actually. So we will also touch on that part. So now the seed technology is having a power to really make your seed smart. And we can say that climate smart seed, which we just discussed with yesterday also in our session, which can always stand with the adverse conditions. And in today modern days, the technology can bring a lot of challenges. You have seen the plastic was a great invention of the human being, but now we are talking about the microplastic problems. We are not talking still macroplastic problems. These are all problems associated with the technology. But if you know the problem is going to come, and at least we have a power, that we can estimate these all the challenges and we can bring the solutions from today only. So it's not that we are going to bring the solution tomorrow. The solution of the sustainability will be implemented, and that is also a powerful topic which we are going to talk today. And I would like to also tell you a little bit about the seed treatment market. This includes, the chemicals plus all the enhancement technology, whatever we deal, and this is growing rapidly. So the current market is around 6.1 to 6.5 billion US dollar valued in the market, which is going to raise around 9.2 billion in 2027. So you can see the potential. Right now, there's most of the value of 9.2 coming maybe from Europe and USA. But in the future, all the growth is coming in the Asia Pacific. So we have to, strengthen, we have to be ready to take this lead. And this demand is not coming just by the chemical industry. They cannot sell their chemicals and they cannot sell their technology. The demand is from the bottom up. So the first demand is about the food security that we have to secure. The advances in the technology is happening because the labor cost is increasing and multiple factors are creating a problem. Like we told about all the biotic and abiotic stress, the challenging environmental conditions. Precision farming is coming in the context. Your seed cost is increasing, so everybody want to get out of seeds. So that is also one of the thing. And nevertheless, the government policies are getting strengthened. We are all fighting. Yesterday, we were discussing about all the policies and those all things. Regulation, industry standards are also increasing. Like yesterday, we were using same chemicals. Now we cannot use it because they don't comply with our industry standards. So these all things are very important. Environmental friendly chemicals are also getting demand because of these all the regulatory plus the human concerns. We go to the market, we want to buy organic foods. So these are all things are happening. And if I touch, a brace, I think we will go deeper where the seed technology is touching in the industry. So we can talk about the influence in the research. There is a lot of influence around the research aspect, seed operations, supply chain. These are all the aspects. Then we can talk a little bit deeper on the seed treatment. We talk about the precision agriculture, the traceability of the seed, and nevertheless, like inventory management, which is a kind of undervalued in the organization. They feel that some warehouse guy will take care of that one. No, we can also bring those aspects and get the help from the seed technology there. Also, the compliance and regulations. I think there is a lot of things has to be done. Seed quality is a kind of the big concern. And we talk, a lot about the seed technology, but till you don't build the capacity of the seed technology in the organizations, which can be also used for the training and development of your salespeople. If they don't know what is seed technology, they cannot talk to the farmers with that confidence, and they cannot pass that confidence. So we are also focusing on that one from the seed technology committee. Then we talk about all the stress management. This can be brought by the seed technology and seed enhancement, germination and vigor. So I think ISTA is doing a lot on those all things, but how you adopt those things in your work, that is also going to make a lot of the challenges. And nevertheless, the marketing and branding, we never bring those people, the seed technologists on the floor. Can we have a discussion how we brand this product? We always talk about the product development, the breedings, these all things. We never bring those people, but I see a lot of values there, which is untapped, and we have to take it out. Finally, what is most important? The most important, your farmers build a confidence on your product, and now the genetics is there, no doubt in that one. We will start from there, but if you don't end your discussion with the farmer on the seed quality aspect, I think that will be still very, very low actually. So we have to leverage all those things. So I will not take too much time. I think we are good to go, a good package like Dr. Savindra told, and Dr. Farhan is also going to take a lead to moderate this whole session. And so with that one, let's start with Dr. Rob Pronk. So Dr. Rob Pronk will talk about the seed technology and sustainability, how do they match actually. And Dr. Rob Pronk is a global marketing manager from Incotech, and he's also a co-chair in the ISF related innovation committee. And he's a very well-versed guy, and we can say a scientist with this topic, particularly on the sustainability and all the microplastic and the seed enhancement product. Welcome, Dr. Pronk. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Happy to see so many faces, and very thankful that I'm able to give this presentation for this audience. Let's see if that works. Yes, it works. I'm going to talk about sustainability in agriculture. And of course, the first question you might ask is, well, is there an issue? Why are we discussing this? And I've looked up a definition at Wikipedia, and there it stands: sustainable agriculture is farming in sustainable ways, meeting society's present and future food, feed, and fiber needs without compromising the ability for current or future generations to meet their needs. And sometimes this sounds rather big, current and future generations, but actually I happen to know that some of you have got children and even grandchildren, and we may think about sea level rising or depleting of resources in 2050 and 2100. And maybe some of us are not around anymore in 2100, but actually our children or our grandchildren certainly will be. So I think we've got a responsibility to perform agriculture, to support agriculture in a way which is sustainable and will be available to future generations as well, without depleting resources. Now, don't get me wrong. We will need to feed the world, and we've got a responsibility here. And with the seeds and the agriculture, there's only one way to produce enough feed and food, and that is simply by getting good genetics out there, do agriculture, but yet do that in a most sustainable way. And we know with agriculture, of course, we're using resources. First of all, there's land. We use an enormous amount of land, and we need to use that as efficient as possibly. Then, of course, there's water. You cannot grow any crops without fresh water. And of course, we all know there is a lack globally of fresh water. Of course, you've got huge downpours, but also there will be periods of drought or where water is going to be scarce, and how to deal with that. Then, of course, we've got our insecticides, fungicides, etc., that are being used, and we need to use them to grow our crops. However, if we can reduce the amount that we're using or find alternatives, that would be preferable. We've got the fertilizers. Without fertilizers, you can't grow any crops again. but I'll try and make a case that there are biofertilizers where you've got, without the chemical production of these products, fertilizers, you still can do quite a bit. Everybody knows that fertilizers are very useful, yet the production of fertilizers, of chemical fertilizers, is very energy consuming and polluting. And as has been indicated, at certain stages, we will use film coats to apply some products onto the seed. And those film coats, it's found that there might be challenges with them, and I'll tell a bit how we can mitigate that. Now, a lot of what's been said here, we try and solve much of that with genetics. And seed breeding, it goes without saying, seed breeding is very, very important. Yet, seed breeding cannot solve everything, and we need to have seed technology that will play a good role there as well. And that's what I'm going to try and demonstrate to you in the next 15 minutes or so. So the question is, where does seed technology fit in? Well, first of all, if you look at land use, how does seed technology fit in? Well, actually, if you treat seed, and whether it's a film coat or an encrustment where you smoothen the shape of the seed, or a complete pallet where the seed is completely encapsulated and made to a pallet, these technologies help in plantability. And especially if you go for direct sowing, if the farmer goes for direct sowing and they use mechanized planting, then having a good quality film coat, which will support the seed to flow properly, or to have an encrustment or a pallet, will help a lot in mechanized plantability. And with that, of course, you have less skips or doubles and use your land more effectively. Then there is priming. And here you see a picture, this case pumpkin, left-hand side, you'll see unprimed seed, right-hand side, primed seed, and you'll see that the primed seed will pop up quicker. And of course, in the event of unexpected or maybe even predicted heat or cold periods, it's preferable if you've got seed that germinates and emerges quicker through priming, because then you will have a root system more quickly and you'll have a better stand and a better likelihood that your seed, that your young plant is going to survive and going to get through all the way to a yield. And then there are various biostimulants that can be applied onto the seed, whether it's seaweed or humic acids or certain nutrients. We can put products on seed which stimulate the development of that seed very effectively, because it's right next to the seed where it ought to be. And this can be done very effectively with the latest seed technologies. If we look at fresh water consumption, again, priming is very effective. You see here a picture on the left-hand side of unprimed seed and on the right-hand side of primed seed. This is an extreme example with rootstock tomato, very well known, but the same will happen with lettuce or tomato or pepper. Very many crops benefit from priming, especially if seeds are germinating in adverse conditions or not optimal conditions. And then, of course, it'll help your seed to germinate. You need to water it for a shorter period of time, because it'll pop up a few days earlier, or it germinates where it might not germinate without priming. And that, of course, supports the use of the efficient use of water. And then again, you've got biostimulants that fight abiotic stress, specifically salt conditions, saline water can be fairly effectively helped with certain biostimulants, and they need to be explored as well. Then we've got plant protection products. We all know that plant protection products need to be used, and there are insecticides and fungicides to support the plant to fight all the biotic stresses that are out there. However, compared, for example, with spraying, the use of seed treatment can reduce the amount of plant protection products quite dramatically. In this example, if you go from spraying to in-furrow use of a plant protection product to a seed treatment, the amount of active ingredient can be reduced by up to 99%, which is pretty dramatic. And of course, it's all due to the fact that using a seed treatment, you put the active ingredient exactly where it needs to be, which is at the root system, where it's either being protecting the root from fungi in the soil, or it's taken up by the plant to protect against insects. So in that sense, seed technology is very effective and very sustainable. There are other methods, of course. In this case, you'll see a picture where a specific biofungicide is being used. In the center of this battery disc, there was a paper of fusarium, which, as you can see, is growing throughout the battery disc. Yet in the four corners, there was inoculation with Bacillus subtilis in this case. And as you can see, they keep clear from each other, which is kind of a good thing, because you can see that neither the Bacillus takes over the position of the fusarium, nor the fusarium takes over the position of the Bacillus. They stay away from each other. So it's not detrimental to the seed. It's just that if the root system is colonized with, in this case, this Bacillus, it will be protected against certain fungi. So and this is a very friendly alternative to certain agrochemicals. And this is regarding fungicides or biofungicides, and the same applies for bioinsecticides. In this case, it's a metarhizium. You can put metarhizium onto seed, and as you can see, if it's being attacked by insects, in this case a cockroach, you see that the metarhizium will grow in the exoskeleton of the insect, and it's a friendly method, not for the cockroach, but certainly for the environment, where only insects are being killed, if you like, which are going directly onto the seed. Then you've got mineral fertilizers, chemical fertilizers. We can't do without them. Nitrogen, phosphate, potassium, they're being used in huge amounts. Yet production of those is very, very energy intensive, and it's polluting. Now, actually, there are products, microbials like rhizobia, which are occurring naturally in the soil and can also be added onto the seed, this case specific legumes like soybeans, beans, peas. And if you put these specific rhizobia, if they are attracted to the root system, you'll see that atmospheric nitrogen is being converted into a form that's being usable by plants. And in that case, you can reduce the use of nitrogen completely. And actually, you will re-fertilize your soils without use of any chemical fertilizer. So where this is possible, and you can rotate crops with beans, soybeans, lucerne, etc., those legumes are very effective in re-fertilizing your soil without using any chemical fertilizer. These products, the rhizobia, only work on legumes. Yet you've also got mycorrhiza. Mycorrhiza work on very many different crops. And when they are added to seeds and they grow, they form an interaction with the root system and are very effective in phosphate and potassium solubilization. And actually can reduce the amount of those fertilizers to be used. Unfortunately, These microbials are very sensitive. They are so-called gram-negative microbials, especially the biological nitrogen fixation ones. And that means that they need to be applied relatively shortly before planting. Of course, we're looking at ways to get it onto the seed earlier in the process and try and do that upstream. And a lot of people are trying to do that. Now it needs to be applied mostly latest 30 days before planting. Hopefully later on, we can take this further upstream. Then a lot of the benefits that I indicated, for that, you will need to apply product onto seed. And with that, you're going to use a film coat, typically. You'll need some kind of binder to put that product onto the seed and keep it onto the seed. Now, you may or may not have heard that those products, well, it goes without saying first that there's huge benefits of using film coats and binders, because you need to put that on the seed. You do not want to have any dust. You don't want to have any exposure to the environment, no rub-off. So there are many benefits. However, the polymers that are being used in some of those film coats are considered microplastics, which mean that they degrade. They form a polymer around the seed. After that, they degrade into smaller particles. And after that's done, it's not going to be further degraded in nature. So essentially, what will happen is that the amount of microplastic that's in the environment is going to accumulate. And again, in this graph, you see in the black bar, you see a curve. That's about the amount of microplastics in nature. And you'll see that around 2050, you'll see that you're going to reach a plateau where you're going to enter a red zone, which means that we will see environmental challenges from that moment onwards. And certainly around 2100, we will see effects with microplankton being polluted with microplastics. Again, 2100, not every one of us will be there to celebrate the turn of the century, yet our children or grandchildren might be around still. Let's hope so. Now, in Europe, there's legislation recently adopted, last month actually, that microplastics will be banned from film coats from 2028 onwards. It will be implemented. So legislation is there, 5-year grace period, so 5-year transition period, 2028, no more microplastics in film coats. And we see a lot of movement as well in other regions of the world. Europe is first, but there is likelihood that in the US, California is looking at it, as you can imagine. Also in Latin America, people are looking at it, and it'll come also to Asia. Fortunately, there are products nowadays already on the market that are microplastic free, not for each and every solution, for each and every product and combination with active ingredient, there is a solution yet, but it's certain that it will be developed in the next few years. Of course, there needs to be sufficient time for seed companies to evaluate new alternatives, and to make sure that they are effective. And that's why we think that 5-year, the European Committee feels that 5 years should be sufficient to get that done. Companies will try and introduce microplastic-free alternatives as quickly as possible in order for all the seed companies to evaluate those new products. And with that, I'm going to give it back to the chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rob. I'd like to invite Chair Dr. Sandeep to please continue with the next panel discussion.
So again, good morning. I hope you still have a lot of energy to go to the next round. So today, as we discussed, we are starting the panel discussion. Very interesting topic, the role of the seed technology in the seed value chain. So like I discussed also, and Dr. Rob Prong also validated the importance of all those aspects. So again, I invite the moderator for this session, Mr. Farhan, and he's also a co-chair of the APSA Standing Committee for the seed technology. So maybe I will ask Dr. Farhan to proceed to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sandeem. I'd love to have the name doctor attached to my name, but unfortunately, I'm not a doctor. But thank you so much for the recognition. Carrying the stage that has been set by Dr. Rob, we take it forward to an individual presentation by all the panelists, and then we'll come together to have discussions on the technology that is presented. So first, I'd like to bring on stage Mr. Simon Watson. Mr. Simon Watson is the Chief Technology and Innovations Officer at Activate Ag Labs. Currently, the Chief Technology and Innovation Officer for Activate Ag Labs, seed coating material, specializes offering services and partnerships. Mr. Simon has over 20 years of experience in seed coatings, enhancements, and technologies, most of this from the research perspective. He started his career in the R&D department and Garmin's Technology Group, predominantly covering the field of seed coating polymers, application of biologicals to seeds, and development of industrial uses for seed treatment equipments. He later moved to the Institute of Food Research, developing multiple emulsions as part of a joint government industry project. Finally, over a decade ago, he moved from the UK to Australia to take up a research position at Centre Oceania, where he progresses to the CEO role before heading up Activate Ag Labs in his current position. Mr. Simon Watson.
Hi, thank you for that introduction, and thanks for APSA for the invitation to speak. I won't name names because I have 5 minutes and 2 slides. So I was asked to present on the challenges for the seed technology going forward into the future. That's quite a broad area and quite a challenge. So I'll move on. We all know that we're hearing stories of heat waves and floods and droughts in the news. And whether you believe that global warming is happening or not, we're certainly seeing climate change happening. I've had the opportunity to talk to many people here from different countries, and they're confirming, firsthand that they're seeing problems with rain events not occurring when they used to, not being as long or being shorter than they should be. Salinity issues in the soil and so forth. And the good folks at NASA have gone and done a study using their supercomputers to see what this might look like in the future. And if you go online, you can actually watch this model unfold over the next decade or 100 years or so. And what they looked at were crop yields, and they saw particularly for maize and for wheat, that there was going to be, as a consequence, a shift in the patterns and the yields, or at least the yield potentials that could be achieved from these crops. So do we now consider that the seed technology is looking at improving the nutrient density using the same sort of volumes? Are we looking at reducing cropping cycles so that we can avoid some of these drastic weather events by getting that crop out of the soil before there is a heat wave or a drought? So we have more choices than any other time in the seed technology, which is both good and also a challenge in itself. Selecting the right tools for what we need to do going forward. In terms of the sites, we can use geoimaging, we've got satellites, we have drones. For predicting out the right conditions, we're looking at using big data or the Internet of Things and AI for working out the efficiencies in terms of costs and how we set up our systems. For plant breeding, we have the traditional methods. We have genetic modification, we have CRISPR, we have fast-track breeding methods where we can change speeds of nights and days. And for cleaning and upgrading, do we use multiple mechanical means for doing that, or do we use our light techniques for spectral imaging and selecting and sorting and additional priming options or phenotyping, and of course seed coatings themselves? We can still apply those normal pesticides, and we have now a huge choice of novel biostimulants available to us. We can look at protective coatings, we can look at microbiologicals. So there are many choices and options available. How do we make these choices? We hear from a lot of quarters now about the sustainability choices. We all seen the UN Sustainability Development Goals and how they might fit into the sector that we work in. And I think that is a very, very good way for us to move forward. How do we pick what we're going to do out of all these things we have in front of us? So making these choices, let's look at the sustainability and how might that look? And for me, I know very well the area of seed coatings. So one particular option in that space is for the use of seaweeds. We've all heard of seaweed extracts, and it's also something that is already known in the Asian markets. There's already a good seaweed production basis within our market. It may not be focused at seed technology right now. There's a lot that goes into just your food markets, but adapting for seed technologies may not be a big switch for these. And if we look at that in terms of how it affects our whole profile of what we do in the marketing, in the farming business, then what we see is a cyclic outcome where that whole seaweed capture can be used within the seed coatings. That can help reduce the amount of fertilizers, and it can also capture the runoff from those fertilizers that goes into the sea. And that way we have a whole closed loop and a whole recycling process. We have that sustainability that we're all looking for. We're improving our soils, we're improving the oceans, we're improving the yields. It really is a win-win scenario. All right, so thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Simon Watt. We'll invite next Dr. Tomoko Sakata. Dr. Tomoko is the member of the APSA Steering Committee on Seed Technology, and she's also the R&D Manager, APAC Incotech Seed Enhancement. Dr. Tomoko, please.
Thank you for nice introduction. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tomoko Sakata, APSA Seed Technology Committee member and Incotech R&D Manager, Asia Pacific. In my session, I'd like to share the idea regarding the solution which available to the seed industry. In this slide, I'd like to discuss regarding the value which we can get from seed technologies. The important job of seed company is to develop the good variety and produce the seed. However, to deliver the proper or higher quality seed, seed quality management by seed technology as post-harvest process is obviously important. After harvesting the seed, the job of seed technology are studied. Seed quality evaluation, such as germination, vigor, physical quality, seed health, genetic purity, etc. Many tests need to be done to understand the issue in each seed lot. If seed quality is no issue, the necessity of seed technology would not be so much. However, if issues are detected, the quality improvement process are necessary, such as upgrading and priming. As outcome of this process, seed lot would be fractioned into two parts: valued seed and no valued seed. After that, the seed company would consider to add more value on seed to ensure the good germination and vigorous seedling. Then a valued seed become further higher valued seed. So we can say that the value of seed technology is to maximize the volume of commercial valued seed and high valued seed. And the seed which added extra value can contribute to the sustainability, and it works to make the company brand image higher. In this slide, I'd like to discuss the process to add value on seed by seed enhancement. Seed enhancement is any seed treatment between seed harvest and planting aimed to improve physical purity, germination and vigor, plant health, and or to most effectively and safely apply agrochemical, additive, and biological in order to maximize the performance of seed. To start the seed enhancement to add more value on seed, first of all, basic seed quality improvement such as mechanical seed upgrading need to be done as mentioned in previous slide. After that, seed enhancement processes can be started. First category is further seed quality improvement by high-tech upgrading, such as X-ray, image sorter, and priming for breaking dormancy. Second step would be film coating with fungicide to protect the seed from soil-borne disease and seed-borne disease. And seed disinfection to improve the seed hygiene level also required depend on the seed infestation level. Seed protection and hygiene improvement would be possible to combine with encrusting and pelleting as well, which are widely used for improvement the sowing efficiency and sowing preciseness. Additionally, it is possible to add additive, active, and biological as well by film coating, encrusting, pelleting to add extra value on seed. And it is possible to combine with priming additionally. These are very beneficial to tackle with abiotic stress, reduction of artificial fertilizer usage, and getting healthy germination and seedling. Like this, seed enhancement are very much useful to improve the seed quality. Further, possible to add value on seed, and it can be contributed to the sustainability. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tomoko. I think you've said it very right that seed tech is important to maximize the value for the seed. Next, Dr. Melanie Octeto. Dr. Melanie is the technical lead and product manager for Grain Pro. Dr. Melanie has a PhD in agriculture engineering. She's also a graduate Master of Engineering in Food Engineering and Bioprocess Technology. Most of her work is in post-harvest technology for dried commodities and especially hermetic storage technology. Dr. Melanie.
Thank you for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Melanie Ocreto from GrainPro. So allow me to share post-harvest processes that affects the quality of seeds, specifically during drying, storage, and transport. Okay, seed drying, of course, the aim of which is to reduce the moisture content of seeds to a level that is safe for storage. So, of course, the main factor that affects seed drying is the moisture. Moisture of seeds is very important because we need to attain a level of relative humidity or water activity, which will inhibit microbial growth. So basically, generally, we need to attain 65% RH or 0.65 water activity. And at this level, microbial activity are being inhibited. But for seeds, it's lower. So it should be below 60% RH because seeds are more sensitive. We need also to consider the right level of temperature. Drying temperature correlates with seed temperature and also drying rate. A fast drying rate or high level of temperature causes stress to seeds, and of course, it will eventually affect or deteriorate seed quality. So in choosing these rate parameters, it can be achieved basically by mechanical drying. Mechanical drying are more reliable as compared to sun drying. So there are several technologies already that are in the market, which we can choose from. So that includes batch dryers or fixed bed dryers. We have also recirculating dryers. We have fluidized bed dryers. And we have also tunnel or tray dryers. And we have also the freeze drying. So we can explore several of these methods that fits our product or our commodity. And of course, after efficiently or effectively dry the seeds into its relative humidity, which is equivalent to 60% RH or lower, it is, we can say now that it is safe to store seeds. But we need to take note that storage is also a critical process which can affect the overall quality of seeds, especially if we intend to store the seeds at a long term. So we need to remember this following, which are the attributes or the natural attributes of seeds, especially during storage and transport. Seeds are actually sensitive to changes in moisture. So seeds are hygroscopic in nature, meaning that they absorb moisture if they are exposed to relative humidity of higher than 60%. So in tropical areas or tropical countries, the relative humidity reaches from 90% to 100%, especially during rainy season. So if the seeds are exposed to higher RH, they will eventually absorb moisture. And an RH which is higher than 65% increases the chances of mold development. So mold development deteriorates seed quality. And of course, seeds are also susceptible to insects, and insects incurs damage. And seeds from various studies are also sensitive to oxygen. Oxidation actually accelerates seed aging. So from this attributes of seeds, we need to protect the seeds from moisture, from insect, and from oxygen. And we need to choose the right method or solution when considering storing of seeds for long term or transporting of seeds. So we have several solutions or methods also for storage solutions or transport of seeds. Of course, the most common one is the cold storage. Cold storage or refrigerated storage is an efficient way of maintaining the quality of seeds. But of course, refrigerated storage requires electricity and they requires energy. So this actually increases carbon footprint, and of course, it is very expensive in the long run. Hence, the industry right now is looking for alternative solution, which is of course sustainable and less expensive. So we have the controlled atmosphere technology, which is an active way of modifying the atmosphere inside a gas tight chamber. So the picture on the lower corner shows the nitrogen flushing system, which uses a nitrogen generator with a mechanism using the PSA, or the pressure swing absorption system, which produces a pure level of nitrogen. And that is connected to a CA, or controlled atmosphere machine, which prompts the nitrogen generator to flush nitrogen into a gas tight chamber to maintain an anoxic condition. The gas tight chamber is very important for us to maintain a level of oxygen which is 1 to 3%. This is an anoxic condition which do not only maintains the quality of seeds because we eliminate the presence of oxygen, but also it controls or eliminate insects because insects need oxygen to survive. So with this kind of method, we are actually using a technology that is chemical free. So it is safe way of eliminating insects, especially for seeds. And of course, it is a gas tight chamber. We are protecting the seeds from moisture reabsorption as well. And we have also the passive way of modifying the atmosphere inside a gas tight chamber. We call it hermetic storage technology. Hermetic storage technology, or HST, is a biogeneration of low level of oxygen inside a gas tight chamber using the natural respiration process of a living agent inside a gas tight chamber. So if I say living agent, so that includes the seeds, the insects, and other microflora that is present inside a gas tight chamber. So since it is a gas tight chamber, we are able to trap the gases with low level oxygen, and a level of carbon dioxide is also produced. So of course, insects are being suffocated inside. So it is also a safe way to eliminate insects. And not only that, by minimizing the low level of oxygen inside the hermetic storage system, we minimize also the oxidation, which accelerates deterioration of seeds. And since it is gas tight, we are able to protect the seeds from moisture that is found in the surrounding atmosphere. And the good thing about hermetic storage technology is that it can be utilized at an ambient condition in the warehouse. It can be utilized for transport. And the good thing is that our smallholder farmers can actually use this technology, and they can store seeds safely in their houses. And that will eventually protect the seeds for the long term. And of course, we have sustainability efforts also, that we want hermetic storage bags to be reused. And we have also developed some of hermetic storage technology that are compostable, which will not result in microplastic or plastic pollution. So those are the methods that we have, which can effectively and efficiently store seeds for long term. And of course, those methods are actually sustainable, and it will really help our smallholder farmers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Melanie. We'll discuss more about hermetic technology in the panel. Next, we have Mr. R.K. Goyal. Mr. R.K. Goyal is the Managing Director for Verdigian Life Sciences. Mr. R.K. is collaborating closely with the seed industry to ensure that our farmers have access to high-quality seeds that grow well under all conditions and result in higher crop yields. Mr. R.K. Goyal.
And thank you, Dr. Parvan and Mr. Paran. Thank you, Dr. Jadali, and good morning, everyone. And I'm happy here to see that about 40 years back, when I was studying in the college, the seed technology department started in my college. And that was a big courage. And after 40 years, I'm presenting the value of seed technology in our industry. And the last 4 days, I'm watching that how value the seed industry is for the industry. And really, it is a good, thanks for coming here for this session. So actually speaking, in all the seed production, all people sitting here are all accountable and responsible for the seed production. And before my presentation, all the presenter has emphasized on the sustainability and how the value of the seeds can be enhanced so that the seed is more valuable for the farmers and the growers. So data science helps industries to make the smart decisions how to have a very specific and a very valuable seed in this thing. And I will just emphasize on the nutrition values in the seed technology, because apart from NPK, if we see that many minerals and many components like calcium, boron, and potassium, and all zinc and sulfur is also required from the right from the germination levels to the harvesting time actually. So that's why the nutritional rich seed, if we have, it will have more as a valuable seeds. And if we have 10 to 15% increment in the quality seed as a grade output, that is the benefit and profitability for the seed industry. Just imagine if out of 100 kilo, if I'm getting only 60 kilo as a high value seed, and if I increase up to 75% or 80%, then definitely it will be a good value chain and more seed can be produced and it can be more sustainable. The second is the quality and at the low cost also, because if we have a very nutritional value seeds, it will have a more storage values also. So here I want to just highlight on the nutrigenetics and the nutrigenomics actually. Both the things, apart from seed coating, after the seed is put in the soil, how we can give the more values of the nutrition from the right from the its germination level actually. So benefit of setting up a seed technology department, we are having a lot of visits to the many seed companies. Now time has come to understand our real full-fledged agronomical practices for a seed industry, whether it is a small seed company or a big seed company. Everywhere we have to see that when a seed is grown and till harvest, how we can neutralize it and how we can make it a very nutritional values actually. So opportunity to develop in-house standard policies and procedures for high quality seed production and as processing and storage and value addition to the seed values actually. Then regular monitoring of crop and the farm situation is necessary to avoid the spread of internal and external infestation and to monitor the seed viability. Sometimes we have seen that in the seed production program, a seed company gives to the, whether it is a foundation or breeder seed for the production, and farmer use at his own actually all the nutrition value of the, whether it is any of the fertilizer being used. There is no guidelines to the given to the growers actually. That is a big, at least in our country, I have seen that a need is there to educate the farmers to grow as in particularly as per the package of practices and as per the need of the soil. What is the nutrition required for that soil to better having the seed quality? Due to recurring data analysis, better navigation of controlling and the abiotic stress factors. In my yesterday's presentation also I have some that up to 65% losses happens and quality deteriorates actually if we don't take care of the abiotic stress. And definitely next coming year, 10 to 20 years, the weather conditions, the climate changes will be happening very rapidly. That's why we have to be more careful on to mitigate these stress levels in the overall in the across the world. Utilizing weather forecast, definitely now there is a good technologies. We can have a weather forecasting for all the seasons. Soil analysis, very, very important, particularly in the soil pH. Just to give an example, if soil pH is less than 7 or more than 7.5, the phosphorus availability will be not more than 25%. So that's why we have to have a solutions. If soil pH is higher, how phosphorus can be better optimized? And there is a solution available nowadays in the market. And the water test data, definitely, there is a lot of things to be done on the water analysis, particularly where we have seed production programs. Accordingly, we can have our decision to mitigate that. Greater productivity and lower operating cost. Definitely everybody would like to have on the cost benefits that if we are incurring a $1 cost on any of the practices, how much we can optimize that cost and have the better profitability so that overall the business is more profitable. Competitive quality advantage, very, very important. Since last 4 days, I'm watching the major concern of the seed industry is the stock returns. If there is even one bag unsold, seed comes back actually. So how your quality as a seed producer is better than the competition? Definitely there is a need of hour today that apart from production of the seed, how your quality is better than the competition. Then definitely it will be more advantage for the people, like improved customer experience and the most importantly, reduce risk actually. Today, seed is a very risky business also. It is no guarantee that whether farmer will adopt that particular seed or not. Definitely, if your seed is on the higher quality, I've seen many brands. To give an example, there is in Gujarat particularly, I always give example of Sania hybrid of hot pepper of a very reputed company in India. So this brand is such a valuable. That's why this brand is more advantage than others actually. So there is a farmer pull for that brand, and definitely it is good to see that if today there is a brand equity always for that. So with that, I just wanted to emphasize once again, there is a need of hour today. Every seed company should adopt the real agronomic practices for better nutrition so that seed is very healthy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Goyal. Last but not the least, we have our chair, Dr. Sandeep Jadli. Dr. Sandeep is also Group Head Manufacturing Seed Tech and Safety, East West. He's a very well-versed seed expert with 17 years of experience in seed operations, R&D, and supply chain functions in the seed industry. Dr. Sandeep, please.
Thank you, Mr. Farhan. Thank you very much. I hope it's going to be a good journey, what we are discussing, a capacity building of the seed technologist in the seed company, and how to, the leverage all the potential, whatever we need to make our business successful and keeping the farmers also happy. So here I'm going to talk a little bit on the seed technology specialization in the overcoming the challenges and adding value. So I put the two things here, the challenges and the added value. Like Dr. Rob told, genetics is very important, that is the fundamental things for the agriculture. But then everything cannot be solved by the genetics. And then these called as the challenges, okay? That is the challenges. There are other challenges which is coming from the abiotic factor. So how we solve that one? Then we talk about the value addition. The value addition is enhancing the potential, whatever the seed you have. So how we can structure the seed technology in the organizations and where it can help in the seed value chain actually, or we can say supply chain or in those ones. So I put some of the specialization here to give you a view that what are the areas where really the seed technology can help. So if you see the breeding aspect, the breeders are busy with their breeding, genetics, all those things, disease tolerance and those all things. But here, the breeding for seed quality traits, I think this is underestimated. I believe many researchers are really looking forward how we can improve the seed quality, because sometime, and you might have seen in your whole career, you have a blockbuster varieties and it doesn't have a seed producibility, you cannot produce a seed, or the seed quality is very, very poor, or sometime it is having a dormancy because you incorporated the wild gene and which trigger the dormancy for you. So that has to be looked at this stage. What are the challenges we are facing in terms of the seed quality at this stage? The second part, if you go to the supply chain, value chain, seed production, now you have a fantastic variety, but you need a lot of seeds with a good quality. Then how you produce those all seeds? So here, I think there are multiple things, like we talk about the pollen technology. Many vegetable seed companies are using the pollen technology, where you preserve the pollen because you want to protect your IP also. And genetic purity maintenance, because the seed quality builds itself in the field, okay? We talk a lot in the lab and processing and warehouse and those all things, but the base is coming from the field. And when we call the genetic purity, it has to be maintained from the field. Then the production of the trial seed, that is also one of the important things when we talk, because you need a lot of seed to produce, to do the trials and those all things. So these other things, the producibility validation, so how much gram of yield is coming from per plant, that is very important to entirely map your supply chains, future demand, how much you want to grow, how much area you need. So that has to be validated by at this stage, which we can call as a seed production research, which is very important. And the production area validation is also one of the important things, because you did R&D trials or some of the trials in one location, but suddenly you told, okay, you try your variety in India and you want to produce in New Zealand, okay? You have not tried it. You send the seed, it can be a disaster. So it has to be optimized, the production area. That is also very important. Field quality check, which is associated with the genetic purity, the seed health aspect, because as I told, the quality is maintained from the field. So all the seed-borne bacteria, the viruses, the viroids, these all can load to your seed. So you have to make sure that is taken care during that time. Then we move the seed from seed productions to the plants or factories or manufacturing sector. what you need there, you have to enhance the quality in terms of the physical purity, the germination, and those all things. So here you talk about the seed upgrading technology, how you can upgrade your seeds. So there are a lot of companies here you have seen outside, they are helping you to upgrade your seed with the best possible way. And you might have seen a big sorter, and this the technology AI is also coming there, and I think there's a lot of supplier is having those all quality. Seed quality control is all about checking your quality, fast, reliable, reproducible quality, because you test today this batch, it got 90% germination, you are testing it maybe after 1 week, or you are sending to other labs, it make 80. Why it is happening? You have to really identify. So this team of the seed technologists can help you to validate those all things. Seed coating technology, I think Dr. Rob has told a lot, so I am not going to tell. This is a vast area. Then seed priming, pelleting, we already discussed. The biologicals are making a boom. It will make a boom, definitely, for sure. So that is the most important part. Seed health, seed disinfection, both are very important when you deal your international market or movement of the seeds. Even for the local market, many companies started checking their seed health and giving the healthy seed to the farmer, because this is also one of the very crucial input for the food security. So that is also has to be taken care at this stage. Then when we talk about the warehousing of the seed or distribution of the seeds, a lot of things comes, like Dr. Melanie told about the storage practices, how you can store your seed for longer time. So whatever the technologies are available, she was talking about this hermetic storage. I think this is fantastic technologies. And seed shelf life is very important in the whole supply chain. If your seed is not able to store till next season or till maybe 1 and 2 years, then you are losing the whole potential of the genetics. So these all things are very important. And here I can say this seed technology specializations, and you can find the people, the resources who can help you in those in your organizations. So with that, how APSA seed technology committee can help you actually there, because you might have the university guys, you might have the university student working as a seed technologist in your company, but then APSA came with this brilliant program, which we call as APSA Seed Academy, kind of the things. It's a digital platform for the learning. So what is in that one? So there are a lot of recorded webinars in that one, and these are presented by the world-renowned scientists in those areas. These are very interactive. They have a lot of question answer and very, practical in approach. So each webinar, whatever is recorded and stored here, having two things. One is the fundamental science behind whatever I discussed in the previous slides, and then the practical approaches, because I think there is a lot of the fundamental knowledge with all of us, but when it comes to the practicability, we see each other eyes, okay, how to do it. So this is our platform where we really go deeper and deeper to make it much more practical approach. So right now there are 30 plus courses in the seed technology, even in the breeding, field crops, and other things. And it's a free membership for the APSA. I think we are giving one membership per company right now, and you can avail for your teams in the seed technology quality department or processing department, whatever the department, the people are working there, you can get extra license. So you can talk to Kuna how to get a license. We're also trying to build it better and better, based on your feedback. When your people start using it, we will revamp it. And that's why Dr. Lulu is also with us here to give us the views that how we can enhance these, all the things for the Asian market and Asian benefit. So it's all about the capacity building of the seed technologists to help you in your organizations. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sandeep. Certainly, Seed Academy is going to be a flagship program for APSA going forward. Now, I'd like to request all of the presenters to come up on the stage so we could just start the panel. Can I invite Mr. Simon Watt, Dr. Tomoko Sakata, Dr. Melanie, Mr. R.K. Goyal, and Dr. Sandeep. So thank you again. I think this was a great start. Now let's get into a little bit more discussions. I'd like to start with Dr. Tomoko. You have quite a bit of experience with seed technology. So let's start with a high level question. What is the best way to use technologies effectively and safely?
Yeah. Thank you for nice question. Yeah, as I explained in my slide, first we need to understand the issue of the seed lot and the seed variety. That is a really important starting point. So, if you don't understand the seed issue, you cannot use the seed technology safely and effectively. So first you need to implement a nice testing method to understand the issue. After that, maybe you can move forward to solve the issue. Maybe like an Incotech, seed technology company also can help you to solve the issue. And maybe university and governmental institute can help you if issue is so much difficult. So maybe and the seed academy is also very nice tool to find a solution to solve the issue. So nowadays, there are many tools to find a solution. So please try to access such tool to find a solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Tomoko. I think I take it now from seed technology. Seed storage is a big part of it, and especially with climate change, and one of the global challenges right now is inflation. So, Dr. Melini, can you tell us a bit more about how hermetic technology can be economically viable as we compare to other storage technologies such as cold storages, CS storages?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, there are several methods that we can store seeds safely, and one of that is, of course, cold storage, which has been proven to effectively preserve the overall quality of seeds. But cold storage, of course, requires electricity. And of course, cold storage, since it requires a lot of energy, it actually increases carbon footprint. So we have alternative methods such as hermetic storage technology, which we can store the seeds at an ambient condition. So there's no need for electricity. There's no need for sophisticated equipment. So it is just a material which is less permeable to oxygen and less permeable to water vapor also. So we are just using the natural process of respiration of seeds and the insects that is stored inside a gas-tight chamber. So with this, we are able to create an environment with low level of oxygen, and hence we are protecting the seeds from oxidation, and we are preventing the seed deterioration because we are eliminating oxygen inside the gas-tight chamber. And also with this, with low level of oxygen, we are also eliminating insects in a friendly way, in an environmental friendly way. So without the uses of chemical fumigations, and of course, hermetic storage technology will be safe for farmers also because there are no chemicals residues at all. So this is how hermetic storage technology is becoming sustainable solution for seed storage.
Thank you, Dr. Melini. I think we are going back towards the sustainability, regenerative. That's very important now. We need to start decreasing the use of chemicals for storages and stuff like that. Now, I'll take it forward to Mr. Simon. We saw in your presentation about seaweeds. Do you think seaweed producers are sufficiently geared for the agri-input industry?
So in terms of the seaweed production and the use of seaweed, I think we have to look very hard at how we source materials. And not all regulations are going to be the same in different places. For instance, you have the option to utilize beach cast seaweed. It's going to give you issues with scalability. You can use farm seaweed, which is cast out on ropes, which again, that can be scaled up, but it has to be done in the right way. In Africa, for example, that type of farming isn't allowed, where they're just cultivating tops of the plants. So looking at the sources of the materials you use is very important. I mean, if you look at other things, such as if you have a humic acid type product, and if you want to consider sustainability, you want to make sure that that's not sourced from a mining sort of operation. So, a lot of it comes from the lignocite or the brown coal sort of method, whereas there are plant types available. So really looking into that, where is your stuff coming from, the materials that you use, and making sure that that whole sustainability loop is there is very important.
Yeah, I agree on that, Mr. Simon. I think next, we've heard from Mr. Goyal about food for seed. So can you tell a bit more about how genetic potential can be enhanced by a seed company?
Yeah, good. Thank you, Dr. Farhan. And yeah, basically, seed is a live thing. Like we today have the breakfast and we are coming for the meeting here. If any seed is put in the soil, it is a live thing again. And if we fortify the seed with the nutritional values, definitely, and I can see there is a lot of gap here because many of the seed is being treated with the agrochemicals, insecticide, fungicide, or maybe now polymers. But the real values, really, which we are seeing last many years, that today there is a big need for everyone to understand that every seed needs food actually. So because once it is germinating, the first root and shoot is going, the leaves are coming in the air and roots is going in the soil. So for the initial, we always say 0 to 30 days. That is a very sensitive, like an infant is born, the first feed is getting by the mother actually. So mother feed is, mother milk is given to the child as an infant. So same thing, if we get the chemicals from the soil for the seed germinating, it may not impact, and there is a weather conditions changing. That's why we want to fortify the seed with the nutritional values, and it is proven and adding values to the seaweed actually. If seaweed is fermented, there is another technologies coming in very robust way, that normal seaweed and the fortified seaweed with the nutrition values after fortification and the multi-stage fermentation. That is expertise. We should have it, and really it is giving values. And we have seen that many universities are working on this, how the real food to be given to the seed actually. So that is really need, and it is a value-added things.
Climate change certainly is a big problem, and we need to find solutions around that. Now, I'd request Dr. Sandeep. Dr. Sandeep, you presented about the entire seed value chain. Of course, each segment is very important. But which segment do you think, out of all of the ones you presented, do you think is the most immediate need for innovation and technology?
Thank you. I think it's a big challenge, what to put and where to put and what to prioritize, because everything is important and it depends on the company where they have more challenges. For me, when you are starting seed technology, start with the challenge. Okay, then look for the value addition, which all are talking. So what I see in my career, I think the most of the challenges we have around in the seed operation. Within the seed operation, you can see that the quality problems, we have low germination, we have sometimes some complaints are there, seeds are not performing in the different climatic conditions. So I feel this is the part where we can push it as a challenge part. But when you talk about the value additions, definitely then marketing and sales can bring that what kind of value they want to add to their seeds, because they see the market, and based on the market dynamics, we can figure out what product is really going to help, whether it's a priming, pelleting, and those all things. Even though the priming can help you in the overcome the challenges, so it's exactly depend on the need. But I feel in the seed operations, I think this is the right to start with. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sandeep. Now I'd like to take a bit more dive into our audience and to engage them more. So I'd like to ask if there's a question from the audience, please.
Can you pass the microphone?
Good morning. This question is for Dr. Melanie, related to seed storage. This is in relation to the program in the Philippines wherein next year we will be implementing the e-voucher for seeds, and the seed companies will have to position the seeds in different provinces of the country at least 1 month to 2 months ahead, so that the farmers can get the seeds from those areas. But the problem of the seed industry, we don't have the storage anywhere in the country. Is your hermetic storage applicable in this particular case, where your company can provide a service as seed storage, so that the private company can just say rent your storage in that area, so that the seeds will be available to the consumer, to the farmers?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for that question. Yes, for grain per cocoons and for hermetic bags, yeah, especially for grain per cocoons, we don't need to have a warehouse in that matter if we are going to use this technology. And yes, we can safely store seeds for like 2 to 3 months and even 4 months or yeah, up to 6 months. And yeah, we have several studies that it can effectively protect the seeds from deterioration. And yeah, we can also partner with you in developing this solution for our farmers. We are actually partnering with the Department of Agricultural, sir, and they are procuring some of these solutions from us. They are procuring cocoons and hermetic bags for other commodities. And yeah, we can discuss this further in terms of seeds and in terms of like a rental arrangements, sir. That's the idea, right? Yes, we can discuss this further. Especially we are in the Philippines. I can discuss this further with my superior. We can make several arrangements with that, and we can also partner with local Department of Agriculture agencies. And yes, we can do that for the farmers. And yes, yeah, I can assure you that the seeds for the farmers will be effectively protected using the hermetic bags. And yeah, we can efficiently distribute these seeds to our farmers. And yeah, yes, we can surely protect the seeds and we can maintain its germination up to the planting season for the farmers.
One hermetic storage can store how many bags?
We have several capacities, sir. We have huge capacities. We call it grain per cocoons. So we can store actually the 5 tons up to 150 metric tons. And this one is also hermetic. And if it will be for the farmers, if we want to distribute this to the farmers, we can use also hermetic bags. And these bags, the capacity of which we have 15 kilograms, we have 30 kilograms, and we have 60 kilograms. So we can use different capacities according to the program of distribution of seeds to the farmers.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So we have quite a bit of more questions.
Okay, Morgan, please. You'll be next.
Thank you. Good morning. Maybe just one quick comment and then a question. The comment is that I think seed technology, in my view, there's the emphasis on preparing the seed to be stored while it's still in the field. And making sure the nutritional value of the seed is right before you actually harvest the seed is something which I personally think is probably an area where we need to focus more on, and which I think also holds great potential and potential cost savings later on, to maintain the viability of the seed. So maybe just a question on that. A comment on that. The question I have is on the technologies related to IP protection as a seed coat. Where are we? Where are we? There are technologies available with that, and as you know, that fake seeds and your seed getting out into the market is something that's becoming more and more of a problem in certain countries. So where are we with that? How close are we with some of those technologies to make it economically viable in applying that and help with track and trace in the commercial areas?
Excellent question. Is there a preference on who'd like to start with the answer from the panelists?
Thank you very much for a nice question. Quite a simple technology. However, Incotec have IP protection purpose film coating. That's name is Disco ID. So it contains a special material, and after adding the something special light, it's become visible. So if you have interest on this product, please let us know. This is the film coating technology. Thank you very much.
Anyone else would like to add to Chris's question? Okay, so we can take the next question, please.
Yeah, actually, I have a comment. Actually, you can breed for seed quality. Actually, quality started with the breeding. We have seen that when we develop the parental lines, there are many parental material which we develop through the crossing. They have, issue of seed filling in some, and particularly if you use the female lines. There are many lines which have genetically not transferring the right food, which is called the from source to sink. And you always have a early desiccation, and then the seed quality is very poor. So I think if out of 3 phases which we have, from seed development to seed desiccation to seed germinative phase, we have to be very clear where we are producing seed and what lines we are using. Because in many of the cases that the seed development phase is not completed because of the many conditions, maybe genetic or maybe weather, you are quickly going to the desiccation phase, because desiccation phase decides the germinative phase. So if there is a deficiency there in the process, then you have to take seed to the hospital, and you have to have the all kind of vaccinations to the seed through seed technologies. So I think one has to be very careful that when you start, because we have seen even in one of the maize we were developing, and we always say that the hybrid storage is very poor, or up to 4 to 6 months only. Then we found out that one of the line is having problem of storability. It only store for a month. So when we understood the genetics of it, because you know that many seed has a viviparous condition that they germinate right in the cob itself. So we have to see all the aspect before we jumping into a lot of things which we are adding cost to the seed. But we can also correct these things in the breeding itself if we are very careful. So I think that component has to be taken care, and also seed has to be produced in the right environment. It has a certain period fix for the development phase to the germinative phase. So I think this all aspect has to be considered before we go into the further part. Thank you.
Very valuable comment, sir. Thank you very much for putting this comment. And I think, like we said, the seed quality has to be maintained since beginning. And this is the big challenge.
I think we have many questions around and also here.
Okay, please. We have a couple of more questions. That's actually very exciting that we are starting to get a lot of questions from the audience.
Now, adding to Dr. Kapoor's comment, correcting seed quality from breeding aspects. And then Sandeep, you said that there's a seed value chain from breeding, production, and the processing or operations. And you said the priorities for operations. In operations, it is coming like quality, seed control quality, controlling seed quality. So can it be like one step back with the production also, apart from breeding? Because if like we want to improve seed vigor or germination, that comes under production also. So there may be some factors which we can think of improving vigor, so that quality control is taken care later part. So that's a comment or suggestion.
That's valuable suggestion, and I respect all the suggestion actually. And seed quality has to be maintained since beginning. Like you are telling, now what has to be done actually, the breeder, and when we are doing the trialing of these new varieties, it has to be checked at each stage, because the breeder is developing today, the variety is not going tomorrow for the commercial. In between, there is a lot of things happening. So if you fine tune that particular aspect of what Dr. Kapoor said, then finally we get a better quality. Then you don't get the challenges in the operation. Okay, then your challenges is already overcome. Then you think about the value addition after that. But right now, currently, most of the companies are not looking at the first part. The challenges become in the operations. So it has to be looked to where is the problem actually, and the problem lies in the field and with the genetics also.
My only observation on the Incotech presentation, I saw seed treatment managing the insects below the root, at the root level. Whether it's specific to any class of insects or it's common to all the insects. If that, and how the sustainability is taken care, or if it is affecting the beneficial insects as well.
Can I request you to please repeat? I think there was a distortion in the mic.
Incotech presented that they have some fungi which can kill the insects. And my question is how can we correlate it to sustainability? Because whether it's a specific to any class of insects or it's a general. If it is general, then how about the beneficial insects?
In your presentation, you mentioned there are some fungi that can kill insects. How can that go along with sustainability?
So this question was for the Rob. I think Dr. Rob, you want to answer? You have shown in your presentation.
Yes, thank you for your question. The example I gave is Metarhizium, and indeed, it's a bacterium that will attack insects that will go onto the seed. So it will be very specific for those insects that will target the seed and the root system. So to that end, it's not harmful to you for the environment unless those insects will be feeding on a specific crop. Does that answer your question?
How about the earthworms of they feed on that?
They're not being affected. It goes into the exoskeleton of those of specific insects.
We have one more. There you go.
Thank you. I was very pleased to see, Dr. Sandeep, that you went right back to include production in your definition of seed technology. I just wonder as we're facing climate change, increasing temperatures, and we now have a better understanding of the effect of heat stress and reducing seed vigor, what is going on in terms of looking at production sites and trying to match up your cycle of seed production to try and mitigate heat stress by perhaps changing sowing dates or other avenues that could reduce the risk of loss of seed vigor because of heat stress. Thank you.
Thank you. I think this is a big problem I can see. So I see in a two-way to fix this issue. One is definitely from the breeding aspect. Even for seed production, you need a robust parent or whatever it is. So if it is the resilience parents are there, definitely they can adopt or they can fight with the adverse climatic conditions. So that has to be looked from the breeding aspect. Whereas if I see it from the aspect of the seed technology or seed enhancement, there are a lot of methods which can make your crop resilience. Okay, so there is a two aspect again in the seed technology. One is when you are sowing your seed for seed production, you want to see a good germination there because the temperature is high or it is not, like Dr. Kapoor said, it should have a right temperature. But now prediction of the temperature is not possible exactly. So you will have those challenges. So there are a lot of product which makes the crop resilience, which Incotech talks and also Cytozyme talks. So that will give you a good boost for your germination. Now, when the source and sinking, like Dr. Kapoor said, when this food is getting sink in the seed, which will be like your F1 seed and which will be sold, during that time, there are certain product which can help to make this sink better actually. So you can spray like a lot of micronutrient is having a lot of benefit during that particular time. So that will help to create a good seed inside the embryo or whatever it is. And then when you sow that seed, it will have a great vigor and all the potential of germination. So that is happening because your source and sink is not happening properly. So there are some things which can be used from the seed technology or seed enhancement. There are some products, especially the micronutrient is having a big role there.
Thank you. We know that heat stress during seed development can reduce seed vigor because of the buildup of reactive oxygen species and the reduction in antioxidant enzymes within the plant and the seed. And so in a non-stressed plant, those two are in balance. A stressed plant, antioxidant enzyme production decreases, reactive oxygen species increases, and that causes the damage to its cellular level, to membranes, to cell contents, to ability to produce new enzymes and protein. And all of that leads to seed loss and seed vigor. So I guess, do you know of any products or additives that may help reduce that loss of antioxidant enzyme activity with a consequent increase in destructive ROS production?
Just want to add here, I think there are certain products, so you have to talk to the suppliers of those products, which can make those all the heat, the tolerance a little bit better. So your ROS species will be suppressed by the antioxidant properties. So that is the balance, because during the stress, any stress, this ROS will start building up, and that will kill your future also there. So you have to minimize those one by activating the antioxidant properties. Micronutrient plus a lot of product from these companies are going to definitely help there. So this is my view, or you want to add?
Yeah. Thank you for this point. Actually, this when more abiotic stress is there, more antioxidant is required for that, because plant is again having so much stresses levels. So, but once stress is there, the loss is already happened. So we have to be careful that how we can mitigate that oxidation levels, and that's why we have to see that how the seed is first treated, so that from the beginning we are taking care of the abiotic stress levels. Then after that, when germination start, then the full package is there. That's why I mentioned that in every seed companies today have this seed technology department who have a very robust agronomic practices right from the seed sowing till harvest.
I would wish that we could have extended further. I think we are just loving these conversations that we have. Seed technology is a very deep topic, and a lot of knowledge sharing needs to happen, and this needs to continue happening. So we have a couple of CTech committee sessions coming all year across, but I think now I would like to thank all of the panelists present here. Please give a big round of applause.
Already 20.
I think the discussions we've had today will certainly carry forward, but unfortunately, we are short on time. So thank you again. Over to you, Dr. Sandhi. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I think you have kind of the enrichment discussion, and I will ask all the audience, whenever you have questions, please, you know some of the faces, so please start discussion, and we will find the solution together. I think one person or one company cannot find exact solution, so it's a kind of the mutual understanding, discussion, and figuring out the solution. Now, when we talk about the seed technology, and we are focusing that you should have a seed technology department in your organizations, wherever you want to keep it, how you want to bifurcate the work, that is a secondary thing. But first, you should have it, okay? So they can ask those questions to the right people, because you are in the management and other positions. Maybe you are not able to reach those people directly from where you can get the answer. So you need those people who are curious about those all things. So with that one, so when we talk about the capacity building, we talk about the APSA Seed Academy program. And we have today Dr. Lulu with us from the Iowa State University. So she is interim director and the global program lead in the Seed Science Center, College of Agriculture in Iowa University. And I would like to thank for taking her time and coming here from that much far to help us in our capacity building and showing what is happening in the other world in terms of the seed technology capacity building. So I will not take further, and I will hand over to Dr. Lulu. Thank you very much, Dr. Lulu.
Thank you for the introduction, Dr. Sanjit, and good morning, everyone. You know, one of the more difficult aspects about growing old in an academic setting is that you get assignments that people don't want to actually take on. And one of them is this thing that I'm talking about here. I would like to alert you that this is actually a sort of an uncharted territory for me, because the last thing I really wanted to do is talk to young people most of the time, but then this assignment actually goaded me or prompted me to do so. For today, I'm going to talk about, and I was asked to talk about, well, how is it that we can actually get more people to be interested in our field? Now, it really is pleasantly surprising to me that since I started attending the tech sessions beginning in Tuesday morning, you know, there's inevitably one speaker that would actually bemoan and lament this whole thing about shortage of talent in the seed industry and agriculture in general. And so what I'm here for today is kind of like to let you know, to partake with you some distillations of a kind of like a research project that we did in order to find out exactly how we can actually figure this thing out, right? So here's the thing. My topic is about Gen Z. So there was this big debate among my research team members because they were saying, well, who are we going to talk to? Are we going to talk to Generation Alpha? Because they are now actually coming up pretty soon, isn't it? These are individuals born in 2010 or about to be born 2010 afterwards, right? Or are we going to go with Gen Z people, right? And so what we did is we pre-tested our questionnaire, which is kind of like a very in-depth questionnaire, more really very qualitative because it adopted an in-depth interview technique, right? And most of the responses that we're getting from Generation Alpha are along the lines of, well, I want to have a job, but I also want to have fun. And we're going, well, who doesn't, right? So we were saying maybe we should actually have some more mature responses to this. And that's the reason why we went with this generation, they're calling Gen Z, that actually were born after 1996. But specifically, our sample actually consisted of people who are at a kind of like the closing end of this generation, right about the people who were born right about 2006 and 2007. And because of that, we are looking at individuals who, in effect, are just about trying to figure out, in essence, you know, what is it that they're going to do? Because they are at the cusp of being really determining what their careers are, and they are also young adults. And although they may have already figured out what they want to do with their lives, they still are very open to different kinds of options, right? So I'm not really going to talk to you a whole lot about what this generation is all about and its characteristics, because I think you know more about it than I do. But what I have listed down here are just about attributes that we got out of their open-ended responses. And by the way, we do have a growing sample size, and this is just it is an ongoing study. For this particular presentation, we focused on our respondents that came from the Asia and Pacific region, because this is the Asian Seed Congress. So right about now, we have 156 respondents. And what we basically did is we took a look at an in-depth analysis of their open-ended responses to some of these questions and the responses to different kinds of prompts, and tried to find out really a pattern of answers that we can actually form into some kind of generalizations. And the whole idea is to develop messages and to identify what are these channels that are more appropriate for this kind of audience, right? So these are the things that you know about Generation X, right? Generation Z. Well, they have raging hormones and they have a misplaced sense of confidence. You know, that's usually what people complain about them, right? They have a strong sense of entitlement, and this is actually up the wazoo if you ask people who are of my generation, isn't it? And of course, they're highly competitive. They want control over the product and the work system they are a part of, and there is no doubt that these people are tech savvy, right? You are looking at a generation that has never experienced a world without internet or without mobile phones. And because of that, they are really more attuned to technology and making sure that technological advancements actually work, because this is kind of like second nature to them, right? And so they also, and to them, the number one personal accessory is this upgraded mobile phone, as you and I know, right? Nothing would make them sad than the fact that they have the other the technology from last year. So they do have that particular kind of like affinity to making sure that everything is actually upgraded. But although this might be to us really daunting attributes, if you take a closer look at their open-ended responses, you know, they give you a sense that there is something that is really kind of special and genuinely attractive about this particular generation that really bodes well for marketing practices or marketing campaigns if you want to get them into the agriculture field, right? Now, this is a generation that is really on track to be the most well-educated generation yet, right? For the first time, you're looking at a generation that doesn't even question climate change, right? My generation used to say that climate change is just a figment of someone's imagination. This group doesn't need any more convincing because they're actually, you know, to them, the effect of it is kind of palpable, right? This is, like I said, a generation that is eager to learn and to enjoy the process of mastering new jobs, mastering new tasks, using new tools and technological advancements. And decidedly, the most outstanding attribute of this generation, as far as I'm concerned, is this high level of social consciousness, right? So their sense of justice is all encompassing. They don't give a fig about, you know, about racial, racism or anything like that. To them, an individual in front of them is a human being, right? So they don't care much about your sexual orientation. They want to deal with you straight up. And this is the reason why there is, I think, a greater sense of strong communication, direct communication with this particular group. As a matter of fact, they really despise their parents' generation's politics a little bit because they think that they tend to cleave towards the authoritarian, and they don't like that one bit, right? So what they prefer to work for are companies and people that prioritize what they consider to be very important, which is a work-life balance. And they prefer to use alternative ways of doing things, right? What I call really as high-impact learning experiences rather than your traditional or conventional, classroom situation type of learning. So what is it, given this, therefore, what is it about these findings that give us some sense about how messages to them ought to be developed? Now, in order to do messaging, it is important for us to actually take a look first or outline the communication objectives for this particular generation and for our particular interests or discipline, right? So the first objective is to break through the traditional perception of agriculture as all about production, right? Now, I know that some people, for some people, this is kind of like a hurtful thing to be hearing, right? But nevertheless, this is something that they say, they always think about when even the mention of agriculture is in place, right? So in order to actually break through this traditional perception, there are several messages that ought to be first, front and center. And these are the things that we have listed out here. So we have to tell them that modern agriculture actually encompasses a whole range of disciplinary specializations that go beyond your traditional notions of farming. And I don't think we've been doing a really good job of doing this, right? Important thing, of course, like any other, is like they need to know that these jobs are available and the demand for these jobs are in fact stable. So they're looking at really a long-term kind of like a prospecting of one particular industry before they actually commit themselves to it, right? And of course, they're looking for jobs that are in fact high-tech. So what does this actually mean? So if you take a cursory examination of these job titles that are now available to people, some of these things we're actually looking at as new titles. It didn't come up until about 2 or 3 years ago, right? For example, a precision technology specialist, right? Things like being the director of agricultural strategies, getting into, pest analytics and things like those. These are titles that they are totally unaware of. And unless they actually meet someone who is in the seed industry field or within agriculture, when they're still young, there's just no way for them to really figure out that this is even possible, or there exists such a thing. Now, when we actually look at their open-ended responses, what do you think about agriculture? Pictorially or visually, these are the things that come to mind, right? So drudgery, not glamorous at all, things that are kind of like back-breaking. These are stuff that agriculture made of in their architecture of recognition, and we have to actually break through that frame. Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to go against this whole notion of farming. And I'm not even recommending that we do not even mention the word farming, as most of my colleagues would like to do. But I think this combination of farming and high technology should be front and center the message to the young people today. It's the thing that is actually attractive, and a little later, I will tell you what combination this actually does with something else to create really what I call really as a kind of like the good equation. All right, so even this whole notion that if you give them pictures like this, they would attribute these things to the medical sciences, right? And when in fact, these things or these, these work conditions happen within the agriculture field, and especially in seed industry, right? In these photographs over here, you see people trying to diagnose, seed-borne pathogens. And these are absolutely something new to them. And they have not, because they have not had much exposure to it at all, right? Now, my friend used to say that, it will go straight to, if he's even talking to a group of young kids, he would say, if you're a pessimistic person, you don't go into agriculture, you don't go into farming. And the reason is because there's so many factors that get into play, right? And these factors are things that you must control because you have to do risk management. And how do you do that? You do that with the use of technology. And so if this is something that we can actually emphasize again in our messaging, I'm pretty sure that this is something that will basically get their attention. So the next objective, communication-wise, is this thing over here. Capitalize on their strong sense of social consciousness. This sense is actually stronger than the cohorts that were, older than them, right? And because of this, why do we say that, right? So we get these, open-ended quotations from them saying, I want a job and I really want to have a paycheck, right? But I also want to make a difference, Cash is not the only thing that is important to me, right? And because of that, you think this combination of affinity to to technology. And this desire to actually make a difference in people's lives, if you put them together, I think those would be good components of proper messaging for this particular generation. So what we want to do is basically to highlight the industry or the employer's social responsibility aspect of it. We tend to actually diminish this, right? SRC is one of those things you take in an advertising class, but basically this is something that people are looking for. Are these people worried about the state of society these days? How can we contribute to it? Do we care about animal welfare? Do we care about food safety? These are attributes of a corporation that they're actually looking for. This organizations will get my energy and will get my talent because ours, my values and theirs actually are combined together, right? And so how is it that we can improve people's lives? Now, one of the telling things too that we learned out of our analysis of open-ended comments is that agriculture needs to be tied strongly with health, right? People, it's kind of difficult to even imagine, isn't it? Because food is life and food is health, right? But for some reason or another, these two things are not matching up very well in people's minds, right? So in communication, we have this thing called schema theory. The whole idea that one particular topic, if you mention it, will actually trigger or activate different kinds of topics in people's brains, right? But when you mention agriculture, for one reason or another, it is devoid or divorced from medicine or from health in general. We have to put this back together again, right? So things that were discussed in the seed technology aspect. So Dr. Rob over here talked about, here's what we do in seed technology and how do we contribute to sustainability, right? Well, those are things alone are messages that you can actually drum up and will actually, and I'm pretty sure will resonate with, in fact, Generation Z, the interconnectedness of things, right? Okay, so the third objective, communication-wise, once more, is to tap into their strong sense of personal care and social responsibility. This is a generation that cares much about their personal care. They're the ones who are telling you, you have to actually get full hours of sleep, do a lot more exercise and yoga, eat healthy and things like that. Why? Because they care about their personal condition at the same time that they care about society in general. So those are the messages that we need to communicate given this strategy. Now, channels, I don't really have to explain to you further, is it? But the communication objective here is to tap on their affinity with technology. These are the folks that seemingly were born with cell phones in their hands, right? And they know how to use it well. The major thing for us really to stress is that because they essentially are mobile devices, that everything that you have communication-wise must translate into the mobile experience, right? And what do I mean by that? It means that if you have a website, every affordance that that website can actually offer, such as you are able to download this or that, can actually be done as easily using the cell phone as it could be using a computer. So these are people also on the go, right? And so because of this affinity with technology, and they don't have that much time really to digest the things that are what we're calling in communication as long form messages, right? They tend to be unwieldy in their minds and they can't keep focused with everything that is long. So the short form, easily digestible bites of information are the things that work well with a mobile phone experience. And we got to do that. Well, another thing I need to stress here, of course, is that now their destinations, as you know, are now YouTube and TikTok and Snapchat, right? So Facebook is totally gone, right? I'm just trying to figure out how to manipulate the darn things on Facebook, and people are, and students tell me, Lulu, Facebook is just so 2010, stop doing it. And they're not actually into it because their parents are monitoring them on Facebook. Facebooks, and they try to drive farther away from these things. So TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, these are their online destinations, right? The second objective when it comes to channel is that we must understand that this is a generation that is always on the go. And they form cliques, of course, online, and they form peer groups someplace, right? But most of the time, what they want to do is to experience this. And so they travel a lot more than my generation actually did, right? So the thing that we would like to share is that we should take advantage of what I call non-conventional ways of communicating, or non-conventional venues or formats for communicating with them, like this one over here. So even this journalist, for example, was kind of like flabbergasted. They said, I've been traveling through airports, but I've never seen actually airports in 40 years of my travel, airport posters actually used in this particular way. And I witnessed this thing myself because, you know, I of course travel out of Des Moines Airport, and we have these things plastered all over the place, like this one over here. And I can hear kids asking, Mommy, what's an agronomist? You know, so if you're starting out, young kids, questioning what this thing is and trying to know more about it, then I think it has actually made its score as a communication channel. So, folks, after having said that, right, I am now shifting into this shameless phase of my talks to let you know about this online program that we have with Seed Technology and Business. As we said before, this is a generation that wants something done mostly online. And that's the reason why we have a master's program that is actually just distinctively, exclusively online. And due to that, we are able to cater to students in any part of the world. So we started out with seed science and technology, but then our seed industry folks are telling us you're good at coming up with scientists and other seed industry practitioners, but boy, your graduates don't know how to start a business and how to maintain it. And that's the reason why we actually work together with the College of Business, the College of Agriculture, together to come up with this integrated curriculum. What does it have? Well, it lists some of these things in these categories of courses in seed science and seed technology and business administration. And so you come up with a Master of Science degree in seed science and seed technology and business. We started this program back in 2007, and we now have an average of 53 graduate students per year. 15 courses altogether to make up 36 credits. If you're actually a diligent individual, you can actually finish the program in 3 years flat. And we're talking here about people who are actually working full-time, right? Not people who are actually studying full-time. The whole idea is really to cater to people who are already in the industry, right? We also have the seed conditioning workshops. This is very much in person, face-to-face. In the summer session, we have these different topics that we implement or we conduct every, I think it goes from either 3 to 4 days, right? So in person, we invite you to Ames, Iowa to actually experience this. So what we have here for this graduate program is an exclusive and dedicated website at seedgradiastate.edu. And I would like you to take a look at it because it basically tells you everything that you need to know about the program, what are its entrance requirements, and what might actually be the career paths for people taking it. But one other caveat that I wanted to say is that that website also lists a whole host of scholarships and fellowships that people can take advantage of. And so, and because it has an international student target population group, we really don't care much about where you're coming from, and there are no special preconditions for people who are considered to be international students. I just listed down these 2 potential fellowships because we have learned just recently that we have some substantial amount over here that is not begging for candidates, right? And I hope you can help me promote and to let people know about this opportunity. First of all, Bayer has graciously given us a fellowship in global seed policy and regulations. If you know of anyone who is interested in this particular topic, there are fellowship support that is available to them. Some of them are kind of like restrictive, but perhaps the most important one for me to let people know is this, the Segal Fellowship for Graduate Studies in Seed Science. And it's kind of like a restrictive fellowship, however, and it's meant for students from Nepal, Bhutan, and India. So if you can actually help us to figure out who might these candidates be, that would be really terrific. So folks, in summary, I have high tech and high touch, right? High technology is the first thing that we want to put across as the messaging. And high tech, meaning, or high touch, meaning that this is an industry that would like to and will have a direct impact on people's lives. These are the two things that will reframe how we market to this industry to young people. And these also are the two aspects that will bring sexy back to agriculture. Thank you so much. I've used too much of your time.
Thank you, Dr. Lulu. Very informative. And you said that it's not living only for Gen Z, it's a purposeful living for them, value-based living for them. So that really touched me, actually. Thank you very much. So I think you told about this course. Definitely, we will be going forward from the APSA, the committee also. We will definitely take it forward and bring those courses, whether we bring a student to you or we bring you to here. So it depends how we move forward. And I believe the APSA will definitely help us in that one. If any questions are there, maybe we have time for just one question. Yeah, please, just one is enough, I believe.
Thank you, Lulu, for that excellent presentation. But being a New Zealander, I can't leave the meeting without also advising that there, of course, are seed technology programs in New Zealand as well. I've been involved, I'm Professor of Seed Technology at Lincoln University, and we've been involved in teaching and at undergraduate and postgraduate level for over 40 years. Each year for the last 25 years, I run a seed industry short course, and rather than online learning, our candidates appreciate the hands-on side of the training we offer, particularly, for example, how to do a germination test or a moisture test, or all the practical side of things. So there's room for both, I'm sure, but I couldn't let Lily get away with hogging the limelight for her course. There's lots of other things around the world as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we are running out of time, so we will move forward. But I think thanks for adding the value again here. So what we have to do with the APSA, that we connect you people and then bring something what is really required for APSA members and this Asia Pacific region. Thank you very much.
I'd just like to close the session for a bit. I know we're running late on time, but thank you again, Dr. Lulu. We hope we can get some special discount for our APSA members. So now, as we are coming to close the session, I'd like to thank everyone here today, especially the presenters, the participants, and as Dr. Rob Pronk mentioned, we need to feed the world, growing population, and there's only one way we could do it, and that is through technology. So for that, I'd like to take it back to our old friend, Akona. Oh, there we go. So
السلام عليكم والسلام عليكم.
Oh, Akona, can we have it back in English, please?
Inclusivity is important at APSA because it is a global conference.
Oh, thank you so much, Ukona. Oh, I think we might have some issues there, but just because of less time, so that's one of the problem for AI. One of the things I want to show here today is the power of AI, where AI could actually monitor through all of the sensors and tell exactly what is happening on the field in real time. I want to give an example of a farmer back in Pakistan, Ibrahim, who has smart and sensors installed on his field, and real time he could see what is the moisture of his field, what kind of crops he's planted, what's the pesticide that he's used. So we all here at APSA can get real-time information and try to find solutions for his problems. The power of AI to capture data, analyze, and build intelligence on it will definitely help smallholder farmers like Ibrahim to conserve natural resources, organizations like APSA to find solutions, and end consumers like all of us to find traceability on what we are eating and where are we eating it from. This is what will lead to the sustainability of the industry. Similarly, analyzing data for precision farming, getting quicker results for different seed technologies will eventually help us to reach food security. Because in the end, it is not what we have used, but it is what we will leave for our future generations. And that is what we will be remembered for. So thank you everyone coming today, and we hope to see you again at gala dinner. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. So may I request all the resource persons and the panelists to be on the stage for the group photo. And also, we would like to thank everyone for the technical session today. We are clearing the room for the annual general meeting. So request you to enjoy the lunch and clear the table for us. Thank you so much.